ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है।
We welcome all of you to today's Bhagavad Gita class.
और हम अध्ययन कर रहे हैं
We are studying third chapter, verse 35 onwards. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is answering Arjuna's questions, wherein Arjun had asked,
माम नियोजयसि केशव व्यामिश्रेणैव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसि मे। तो उन्होंने पूछा था कि आप मेरे को निश्चय करके बताइए मेरे को क्या करना है।
he had asked that please tell me decisively what I should do, because sometimes you say that Buddhi Yoga or Jnana Yoga is Shreshth, sometimes you say Karma Yoga is superior, and if Buddhi Yoga is superior, then why are you engaging me in this ghastly war? So Bhagavan explained to him at great length that every person should perform his prescribed karma, and by performing karma, nobody can live without performing karma,
स्वभाव के अनुसार
but
करते
the
हैं।
karma must be according to one's swabhava. Like he said,
सदृशम चेष्टते स्वस्या प्रकृतिर्ज्ञानवान अपि। लेकिन उस कर्म को राग द्वेष से रहित होकर
but
करे।
the karma should be performed being devoid of raga and
क्योंकि उन्होंने
dvesh,
कहा कि प्रत्येक व्यक्ति
attachment
को
and aversion.
अपने विषय में राग द्वेष रहता है, तो उसके वश में ना हो, क्योंकि ये राग
So
द्वेष
one
जो
should
है
not be under the control of raga and dvesh,
परिपंथी है,
because
चोर है,
this raga and dvesh are the obstacles,
बंधन लुटेरे
they
हैं,
are the
हमारे
dacoits,
जीवन को विनष्ट करते हैं।
they destroy our
तो
life.
स्वाभाविक प्रश्न आता है कि अगर हम राग
So
द्वेष
the
को
natural
नियंत्रण में
question that arises
रहते
that is
हैं
that if
तो
we
कैसे करें।
should not be under the control of raga and
तो इसके
dvesh,
उत्तर
then
में
what should
भगवान
we do?
श्लोक बोलते हैं,
So in
स्वस्थ
answer to that,
स्वधर्म
Bhagavan is answering here.
परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वधर्मे निधनम श्रेयः परधर्मो भयावह। स्वधर्म के पालन में भले ही
Translation:
किसी तरह का
the
दुख हो,
performance of one's
दूसरे
own
धर्म को
duty,
अपनाने से
even
श्रेष्ठ है।
if somehow deficient,
भले ही
is
दूसरे
superior
धर्म
to taking up another's
सिद्ध किया
duty,
गया हो,
even if performed well.
यहाँ तक कि स्वधर्म का
Even
निर्वाह
death
करते हुए
occurring in the discharge of one's own
भी
duty
दूसरे के
is
धर्म के पालन
superior
से
to the
श्रेष्ठ है,
execution of another's
क्योंकि दूसरे
duty,
के धर्म का
since
पालन
the
भयावह है।
latter's path is perilous.
तो यहाँ स्पष्ट रूप से भगवान अर्जुन को फिर
So here, very
उपदेश दे रहे हैं
clearly,
कि आप
Bhagavan is
स्वधर्म का
explaining
पालन
to
करते हुए,
Arjuna that
पहले
you
भी उन्होंने
should
कहा था,
perform your own
युद्धस्व
swadharma.
विगत ज्वरा
Earlier also he had
राजन्य
said,
भूत्वा युद्धस्व विगत ज्वरा, और उसी बात को फिर विभिन्न तरीके से समझाया। तो
so
यहाँ
he
फिर
is
कह रहे
just
हैं कि
explain what he explained earlier, he explained
कुछ
that
लोग
again in
सोचते हैं
different
कि युद्ध
ways.
करने में
Now
कुछ
Arjun may
कमी
think
है,
that
कुछ दोष हैं,
there is some
ऐसा
defect
लगता है कि कुछ
in
पाप है,
engaging in the war. Arjun
और
may
वो कोई
be
धर्म अपनाना चाहता है,
afraid that I may incur sin if I engage in the war.
उसने कहा
That's why he wants to take up another's dharma by taking
भगवान
doing
कहते हैं
bhiksha,
कि उससे
begging alms.
आपका कल्याण नहीं होगा,
So Bhagavan is telling that dharma will not
क्योंकि वास्तव
lead
में
to your
स्वधर्म
benefit,
पहले तो छोड़ना
because
कठिन है,
first of all, it is very
अगर आप
difficult
प्रयास
for
करें तो
anyone to
संभव
give
है,
up his or her own swadharma,
और दूसरा अगर वो छोड़ देगा तो उससे
even if
बेहतर
one
होगा।
tries. And if he is able to give that up, that
तो इस बात
then
को
also he
भगवान
will
बार
not
बार
get any benefit by
समझाते हैं
giving up
कि
his
ये
own
बहुत बड़ी
swadharma.
समस्या है,
So
हमारी
Bhagavan
समाज में
is
आज,
explaining this again and again,
और
and
हमें
this is
विशेष रूप
a
से ये समस्या
serious
बढ़ गई है
problem in today's
क्योंकि किसी को
society,
पता ही नहीं है
and
कि
this
स्वधर्म
problem
क्या है,
has
स्वभाव क्या
increased
है,
a lot because nobody
प्रकृति
knows
क्या है,
what is his or her
और क्या
own
उसको करना
swadharma,
चाहिए।
prakriti, what he should
आज
do, what
युवा
she should
बहुत
not
भ्रमित
do.
है,
Today, the youth is
और
highly confused
दूसरे के
and
धर्म से
bewildered
प्रभावित होता है,
and becomes
इसलिए कि
influenced by the dharma of other
विज्ञापन में
people,
प्रचार किया जाता है,
by
विज्ञापन
being
किया जाता है,
influenced by advertisements.
तो उससे व्यक्ति ना इधर का रहता है ना उधर का रहता है,
So, because of that, the
क्योंकि
youth
अपना
is
स्वधर्म
neither able
बदल नहीं
to
सकता है, जैसा पिछले श्लोक
change
में
his swabhava,
पिछले श्लोक में बताया उन्होंने
as
कि
we
कोई व्यक्ति
understood
यदि
in
नहीं
the
जानता है तो वो अपने
previous
स्वभाव के अनुसार
verses,
ही चेष्टा करता है।
that even a wise
भगवान
man
कहेंगे कि वो ज्ञान
works
अगर
according to his own swabhava only.
बिना उसकी चेष्टा होगी
He may be doing
तो
that without
चेष्टा
raga and
स्वभाव
dvesh
के
because he
अनुसार
is a
ही
wise
करेगा,
person, but then he will
स्वभाव
work according to swabhava only,
स्वभाव दुरतिक्रम, स्वभाव को
because
छोड़ना बहुत कठिन
giving
है।
up one's swabhava is extremely
तो
difficult.
दूसरे को
So
देखकर उससे प्रभावित होकर उस जैसा
when
बनने
we
की
become
इच्छा,
influenced by
तो उसमें
others
क्या होता
and
है
we
कि
want
हम
to
जो बनना
become
चाहते
like
हैं वो
them,
बन नहीं
then
सकते,
what happens is that we are
नहीं
unable
बन
to
सकते,
become like that person because we do not
नहीं
have that
बन सकते हैं,
qualification and it is not our swabhava. And we
नहीं
what we
बने
could
जा
have
सकते।
become by our swabhava, we lost that
तो
opportunity
उसी के
also.
लिए भगवान
So we
फिर
lost
बोल
from
रहे हैं,
both the sides.
आज जो
That's why
समाज में
Bhagavan is stressing on this
देखते हैं
point.
कि अपने
In
कार्यों से
today's
असंतुष्ट हैं,
society,
जॉब
we see that
डिससेटिस्फैक्शन
there is
है,
a lot of job
तो वास्तव में
dissatisfaction among
युवा
people,
भ्रमित हैं कि उनको क्या
and the
करना
youth are
चाहिए, क्या नहीं
confused
करना चाहिए।
what they should do or what they should not
और
do.
जो भी ज्ञान प्राप्त होता है वो ऐसे लोगों से
Whatever
प्राप्त होता है
knowledge they
जिनका
acquire
अंतर्निहित
from
उद्देश्य रहता है, और
people
उद्देश्य
who have their
स्वार्थ
own
का है,
selfish motives.
तो
They
उसी
just want to
प्रकार
earn
वे
money. That is why
विज्ञापन लाते हैं,
they bring such,
प्रचार
they
करते हैं
display
वैसे,
such advertisements by which public will become
उनको ये पता
confused
नहीं
and will like to emulate
कि हर
such
एक
people.
व्यक्ति की अपनी एक निजता
So such people are not successful because every person has his own unique personality, and real joy is in living according to that personality. Because if that person is not living according to his personality, then what is happening is you are swimming against the current of the river. The current of the river is very strong, and you are swimming against that current, so you will not reach anywhere. You will either end up drowning in the river, or at the most you will remain in the same position but keep struggling. So if we analyze our body also, like every person has his own swabhava, every object has its own dharma. Fire has its dharma, water has its own dharma. So these elements, these material elements, they do not give up their swabhava. Birds, animals, they do not give up their swabhava. That's why they live happily. If they start functioning according to others' swabhava, then they will also fall in trouble. But it is only human being who tries to go against his own swabhava, and his life becomes miserable. If we analyze the parts of our body, so we have our hands. So hand has its own swabhava to grab, to hold some object, to give something to someone else. But if we try to perform the function of our hands with our feet, then there will be so much trouble. Maybe by practice you do it, but what you can do with your hands very easily, happily, without much effort, how can you do that with your own feet? When I was in school, a person arrived there. He did not have both the hands, so he used to do everything with his legs only. So he was showing how he could, tie the buttons with his feet. Everybody cannot do that. That person was doing because he was helpless. Now, if somebody says that no, I will walk on my hands, so it will be such a dangerous situation. So all the parts of our body, when they function according to their swabhava, the body functions remains healthy, it functions properly. Otherwise, there will be a lot of problem in the body. Similarly, we should understand our own swabhava, and we should work according to our swabhava. And then we have our own relations, father, mother, brothers, sisters. They have their own dharma. If they adopt others' dharma, if husband starts behaving like brother, if brother starts behaving like husband, then there will be so much chaos in the society. If brother behaves like a husband with his sister, then will the husband tolerate that? So there will be so much problem. So if you adopt others dharma, what you will get is only fear. So it is not much difficult to understand, but we do not apply this teaching in our life. Our life will blossom like a flower only when we work according to, we train ourselves according to our swabhava, and we work according to our swabhava. Every person is like a seed, just like a seed fructifies, and then slowly plant develops. Then there are flowers, there are fruits. So the fruit will be according to the seed only. If the seed tries to become something else, it is not possible. So it won't be able to generate another type of fruit. But human being is working like this only because the seed does not have any capacity to work against its swabhava. If you water it, it will slowly the plant will develop according to the seed only. But in case of human being, what happens is human being wants to imitate others, and the main reason is that there is a lot of temptation in following another person's dharma. When we see some
जिसके
superior
बाद उस
person,
गाड़ी को
some
देखते हैं,
famous person, some
उस राह
sports
में निकल
person,
पड़ते हैं,
some politician,
तो हमारे मन में भी आता है कि हम भी ऐसे बनना चाहते
then
हैं, क्योंकि उनका
we
जीवन
also
हमने
get the
देखा
thought
है,
in our mind
अपने
that we should
पड़ोसी की
also be like this, because you have already
उसका
seen
पता नहीं है क्या होगा,
you are seeing the flower. Now in your own case you don't know what will happen to the seed, but the other person's seed has already fructified. So you are
तो
just seeing the flowers, the
हम
fruits,
भी ऐसा बनना
and
चाहते हैं,
you also want to become like
लेकिन
that.
वो तभी संभव है अगर आपके
But
अंदर
that is
भी
only
वैसी
possible
सामर्थ्य है, वैसा
if you
पोटेंशियल
also
है,
have the same potential, the
वैसी
same
बुद्धि है,
qualification,
वैसी
same
योग्यता है,
aptitude, same
संभव है,
eligibility. Only then it will
संभव
be
है।
possible. Otherwise, it will not be
तो क्या
possible.
होगा कि पूरा जीवन आप एक सपने
Rather,
में जीते
what will
रहेंगे,
happen is you will continue to
सोचते
lead
रहेंगे
your
कि
entire life
काश मेरा ऐसा
with
मकान
in a
होता, ऐसी
dream.
पत्नी होती और ऐसा
Like
पति
people
होता,
dream that I wish I
ऐसी
had
ऐसी
such wife, such
उसका
house,
यदि
such
पूरा होगा नहीं
business.
तो वो सपना ही
So you
देखता
do not
रहेगा,
have that qualification, so you keep
जो हो
dreaming.
सकता था वो तो करेगा
And
नहीं,
what you could have done,
और
you
दूसरे
are
को उसकी
unable to
कल्पना
do
में
that
देखता
also.
रहेगा,
And you are dreaming to live
तो
another
फिर
person's
आपका
life,
जीवन
so
उस
you cannot fulfill that dream. So then
उसी
you
दृष्टि में रहेगा,
entire life gets wasted dreaming,
जिसको
and then
जॉब
you are
डिससेटिस्फैक्शन
just living in
कार्य
dissatisfaction, what
असंतुष्टि या
people
कार्य
often
असंतोष,
call as job dissatisfaction.
तो ऐसी समस्या आज हमारे समाज में बहुत देखने को
So in
मिलती
today's
है।
society, this problem is very common.
मेरे को याद है कि एक मेरी विद्यार्थी थी यहाँ पर, तो वो बता रही थी वो कैलिफोर्निया में रहती है, उसका
So
लड़का था जो
some
स्कूल
time
जाता
ago, a
था,
student was there,
तो वो
and
स्कूल जाता
she
था
was in
तो रास्ते में
California.
स्कूल
So
में
the
उसका मकान
son
पड़ता था,
used to go to
स्टीव
school,
जॉब
and on the
जॉब
way
संस्थापक
there
थे,
was the residence of Steve Jobs,
तो
was
उसका
the
मकान
founder
पड़ता
of
था,
Apple Corporation.
विशेष मकान है,
So that
अमीर आदमी का है,
residence, that building was
तो देखता
quite
था और सोचता
special.
था मेरे को भी ऐसा
It
मकान
belonged to
चाहिए।
Steve Jobs. So when this boy used to see,
अब
he used to say that I also
उसने
want
माँ
this
को
type
बताया,
of
तो उसने कहा ये
residence.
तो माँ मेरे को बताएगी
So
नहीं,
he must have told
अब वो
his mother.
सोचता था
That's
कि
why
वो
she
जिंदगी
told this
भर
to
यही
me.
सपना देखता रहेगा,
So now what is
मैं
happening
कभी
is whole
ऐसा
life
बनूंगा,
he will keep dreaming about this, that I want a
और जो वो कर सकता
house
है वो नहीं
like
करेगा,
this. And
उसकी
what
क्या
he is
योग्यता
actually
है,
capable of doing, he
उसकी
won't
क्या
be able to do
संभावना
that
है,
also.
तो
And
ऐसी
he will not
समस्याएं
function according to his own capability. Rather, he will try to lead another person's life.
बढ़ावा भी देते हैं
So this is a serious
जो
problem in society. And
उत्साहक
nowadays,
वक्ता हैं,
the
जो
speakers on social
दूसरों
media,
को प्रोत्साहित करते
the
हैं
motivational
कि आप कुछ भी
speakers,
बन सकते हैं,
they
आपकी
also try to tempt you by speaking
योग्यता की
like
कोई
this,
सीमा नहीं है,
that you have
ऐसे
unlimited potential, you can do
दूसरों के
anything, you
उदाहरण
can
देकर
become
आपको
anything, any
प्रलोभन
like
करते
anyone.
हैं
And then in order
कि
to
एक
tempt you,
व्यक्ति
they
के
give you a
बारे में
lot of
समझिए, उसका
examples.
स्वभाव क्या है और उसके अनुसार कार्य कीजिए। अब वो जो जिनका उदाहरण दे रहे हैं वो, और वो शायद अपना भी उदाहरण दे रहे
Now
हैं,
they sometimes
तो
they give
मैं
their own
उनकी बात कैसे
example, they
मानूं,
give
तो
other
मैंने
people's
देखा कि अगर मैं
examples.
वैसी
So
योग्यता थी तो वैसा बन के
those
छोड़ूंगा,
people whom
तो ऐसा
example
नहीं
they
कि
are
वो सब
giving,
बन जाएगा,
so those people had different
तो दूसरों
qualification,
को
so
दूसरों
they
से
achieved
देखते हैं
that.
और दूसरों को
Everyone cannot be
उससे
like
बड़ा
that,
प्रलोभन मिलता
but
है,
they try to tempt
तो ये
their followers
परधर्म जो
with
है
such
ये बहुत ही
examples.
लुभावना दिखता है,
So imitating someone
और
else
उससे
is very attractive,
हम बहुत प्रभावित हो जाते हैं,
and we get
तो
influenced
प्रभावित होना
by
ठीक है,
hearing
हमारे
such
शास्त्र में भी
stories.
कहा, भगवान ने भी कहा
So
यदि यदि आचरति श्रेष्ठ
it is good
तत्र
to be
जगत
influenced
प्रमाणम
by
कुरुते लोकस्तदनु
good
वर्तते,
people, successful
लेकिन वो
people.
श्रेष्ठ धर्म
But
के विषय में बता रहे हैं,
when Bhagavan is
वो इस विषय
speaking
में नहीं
about
बता
Yad
रहे
Yad
कि
Acharati
अर्जुन
Shreshtas, he is talking
महावीर
about
है
Shreshta Dharma.
और वो श्रेष्ठ पुरुष है, तो दूसरे
Arjun
की
is a great warrior, he is
जिसकी
a
योग्यता
great person.
योद्धा
So
बनने की नहीं है, वो
another
बढ़िया
person
लगे उसको
who
देखने में,
does not have the qualification to become a great warrior,
कि देखो ये
Bhagavan does not mean that
अपने
that
से बड़ा
person
है,
should also try to become like
हर कोई
Arjun.
अपनी योग्यता को अपने से
What
गिना सकता
Bhagavan
है,
means is that how Arjun
और
has
उससे
become
ज्यादा
so
अच्छा
great
करने
by
की कोई
following his
योग्यता नहीं
Swadharma,
है,
by being so
ये
dutiful.
है श्रेष्ठ
You
पुरुष,
also become great
ऐसा
by
नहीं कि
following your Sadharma and becoming
जो
dutiful.
लोग सफल
Not that
होते
you
हैं
start copying Arjun. Those
ऐसे
people
नहीं,
who have become successful in their
शास्त्र का
life,
खेल है,
in
उसमें
whatever field it may
इसलिए
be, whether it is sports
चाहे
or
वो
business
वैज्ञानिक है,
or
तो
it
हमें ये
is
देखना है कि वो कैसे
science.
अपनी मेहनत से अपने क्षेत्र में सफल
So
हुआ है,
what
उसमें
we
कितनी
should
लगन है,
learn is how
क्योंकि
that
ऐसे
person is
लोग
so
ही
hardworking,
सफल होते हैं,
dedicated. dutiful,
कि मेरे को
and
अपने
became
कर्तव्य से
successful.
सफल होना है,
So
यहाँ
I
पे
have to we should emulate the person's attitude, not
इसलिए हमें अपने जीवन
not
में
his own career itself.
महत्वपूर्ण कार्य करने हैं
That's
सफलता
why
के लिए।
in our life, in
एक
order
तो
to be successful, we have to do
अपने
two important
स्वधर्म का,
things.
अपने
One
स्वभाव
is
का ज्ञान होना
having knowledge of our own
कि अपने
swadharma,
स्वभाव के अनुसार हमारा धर्म क्या है।
and then according to that
स्वभाव तो
swabhava,
सभी का है,
what is our
लेकिन
dharma.
स्वभाव के अनुरूप हमारा जो कर्तव्य है शास्त्र अनुसार उसको धर्म बोलते हैं, उसको स्वधर्म बोलते हैं।
So according to that,
तो स्वभाव पता लगा के उसके शास्त्रीय
what we
कर्तव्य
should do, that is
कैसे
swadharma.
करना है।
So first we should check our
और
swabhava,
दूसरा
and then we should say
परमार्थ
see what shastra prescribes
जो
for
कि
that,
बहुत
and we should work accordingly. And then we should protect
हमें
ourselves
मन पर,
from
इंद्रियों
the
पर
temptations.
नियंत्रण करने की आवश्यकता है।
We should learn to regulate our
ये तो
senses, our mind.
आवश्यक है,
These
नहीं तो
this is very
हर एक
essential.
व्यक्ति
Otherwise,
भारत में, जैसे कुछ दिखा रहा था छोटा सा वीडियो, हर एक व्यक्ति अपने को ऐश्वर्या राय बनाना चाहती है।
every woman wants to make herself as Aishwarya Rai.
पूरा जीवन उसका
I saw this in a
अरे
small
उसकी
video
एक
clip.
योग्यता है,
So that is
उसको
not
बल
possible.
रहता है
Aishwarya Rai has her own qualifications,
हर धर्म के
capability.
हर एक
You have
व्यक्ति को
qualifications in some unique
एक
field.
इकाई
Every Bhagavan has given
योग्यता दी
some
है।
unique qualification to every
और ये
person,
भगवान का एक कौशल है कि
and this
मनुष्य जीवन
is
में कोई भी
a
धर्म से कोई
great quality of Bhagavan. This is his expertise,
आप कोई
how
भी
he has
योग्यता मान लो,
created
कोई
that
कमजोर
no
हो,
two human beings are exactly
सब
same.
एक जैसे निकल के आते
If
हैं।
you
या
manufacture
तो माँ बाप से जो
cars in a
एक साथ
factory,
पैदा होते हैं तो वो भी
they are
अलग
all
अलग
same. But
स्वभाव के और अलग
we
अलग
see that even if twins are
शक्तियाँ हो
born,
सकती हैं,
even the twins are not
लेकिन
exactly same. They may have some similarities, but they have lot of
तो
differences
इसको हमें
also.
समझना, और उसी में
So
एक सौंदर्य है। जैसे कि अगर बगीचा है, उसमें अगर सब पूरे यहाँ से वहां तक 15 20 किलोमीटर तक
like
सारे
let's
एक जैसे
say
हैं,
you have a garden,
तो उसमें क्या
and
सौंदर्य है। लेकिन अगर
if
हर
the
एक
entire
जगह
garden has all
एक
the
सा
same
है,
type of flowers, then
तो
it
भगवान
is not so
में
attractive. But if you
विविधता
have
है,
lot of variety, then it is attractive. So
तो उस
Bhagwan's,
विविधता को
so
हमें
this material
समझना
nature that Bhagavan has
समझना
created, it has lot of
तो
variety.
इसलिए
So we have to understand that
ऐसे
variety. We have to
धर्म जो
understand
है
our own swabhava.
उसको समझ के उनके
So
अनुसार हमको कार्य करना।
what is our swabhava? What is our
दूसरा जो
dharma?
धर्म करने में आसान है,
Accordingly, we should work. It may be
जैसे बहुत
easier
लोग ऐसे करते हैं,
to
साधु बनना
copy or imitate someone
किसी भी काम
else.
में साधु
Like
बनना,
people say, better to
लेकिन
become a sadhu. You don't have to do anything. It is very
पद भी
easy.
मिलता है, पैसा भी
Sadhus
मिलता है,
get lot of respect
जगह भी
also.
मिलता
They
है,
get lot of money as donation also. They get free food in the bhandara.
लेकिन
They do not
आखिरी
have to do
ध्येय वह
anything.
नहीं है
But
जो
then you have
वास्तव
to
में
first of all check
एक विरक्त व्यक्ति
whether
के
that
लिए
is your own dharma or
पता
no.
लगे कि अब सब
That
कुछ
dharma of being a sadhu is for a renounced person.
लेकिन मूल में तो भिक्षा एक विरक्त व्यक्ति को देने दी जाती थी, उनका अधिकार था, या
Though
ब्रह्मचारी को देते
originally
थे।
bhiksha was given only to renounced people,
तो दूसरे का
not
धर्म
to
करना
anybody dressed as
आसान भी
sadhu.
है, और उसमें मान
So
सम्मान भी
following
मिलता है,
another's dharma may be
वैभव भी मिलता है
easy
आपको,
and it may give you lot
फिर
of
भी उसको नहीं
respect,
करना
name,
चाहिए,
fame, etc.
क्योंकि वो
Still, you should not follow
व्यक्ति
another
वास्तव में
person's
कौन है।
dharma because
कृष्ण ने
superficially it
भयावह
may
भाषा
appear
में कहा कि
it
परधर्म
may
त्याग
appear
करो,
very attractive, but the
इसलिए
result will be very
हर जगह
dangerous.
के
Like
आचार्य
Bhagavan is telling
धार्मिक
here
विद्वान
that
कहेंगे
following another
कि
person's dharma
ऐसा सुख
is can be
जो
ghastly.
आरंभ में
Like later
सुंदर
Bhagavan
दिखे,
will say that
लेकिन
happiness
उसका परिणाम
which
विषमिव
is temporarily
उसका
immediately very
परिणाम सुख
attractive,
दुख होगा।
later it will become
वो सुख
poisonous.
राजसिक है, तो उसका वो राजस
That is
रजस्व
rajasic,
फलम दुखम,
and
उसका
rajas
परिणाम
leads
सुख
to
होगा।
dukkha.
तो ऐसा कार्य नहीं करना चाहिए,
So we should not work like this.
और अपने धर्म में अगर कष्ट भी है
Even if there
और
is
उसमें
trouble
हमको उतना मान
in
सम्मान भी
following
नहीं
our
मिलता
own
है,
swadharma, and we do
उसमें
not get
उतना धन भी नहीं
so
मिलता है,
that much name, fame,
और
wealth,
कुछ तपस्या आपको करनी पड़ती है,
and you have
तभी
to
स्वधर्म
do austerity in your life.
श्रेयान। तो भगवान कहते हैं वही श्रेष्ठ है।
Still,
उसके
Bhagavan is
धर्म
telling
में
that
पालन
is
करने में
best for
कठिनाई हो
you.
सकती है,
You may have difficulty in following that,
लेकिन फिर भी उसी को करना
but
चाहिए,
still you should follow that
तभी
only,
उसके
your own
साथ
swadharma,
कल्याण होगा।
despite all the troubles and
उसका
miseries,
कारण क्या है?
because that
आपका जो
will
स्वभाव
bring supreme benefit to you. It will be supremely beneficial. And why is it like that? Because you have got swabhav from your the karmas that you did in the previous birth, and you got that because you had desire like that. So after crossing that only you will enter spirituality. Otherwise, it will remain as a blockage. The desires that you have carried forward from the previous births, you worked accordingly. That is why you have that has become your swabhava. But now, if you do not work according to that swabhava and imitate someone else's dharma, you will not get what the other person got, and you will not be able to fulfill your own latent desires also. That's why you should not give up our own swadharma. That's why Bhagavan is repeatedly telling Arjun. Arjun had just asked that why should I fight in this war? What will be the benefit in fighting in this war? What will I gain? So Bhagavan replied that you have to follow your own dharma, and these are irreligious, these are adharmic people. So it is your dharma to fight against these adharmic people. It is the duty of a kshatriya to fight against adharma, irreligion. And if a kshatriya does not protest against adharmic people, then who will protest? If a kshatriya stops performing his own duty, then everywhere irreligious adharmic people will rule. That is what we see in today's society.
यानी कि अपने धर्म को
So
पालन
Bhagavan is speaking to the extent that even if you die performing your own swadharma, still you should not give it up.
ओके तो प्राय करके हमें
So
मौत से डर
mostly
होता है
we are all afraid of death,
हमें सलाह दी जाती है कि ऐसा कर्म
and
करो जिससे
we are advised
मृत्यु हो जाए
not to
हम नहीं चाहते
do
कि हमारी मृत्यु
anything that
भगवान कहते
brings
हैं
us closer to death.
डर हमको
So but Bhagavan is telling that you should be more afraid of following another person's dharma compared to being afraid of death.
धर्म को पालन करते हुए मरना अच्छा है
It is better to die performing one's own swadharma compared to imitating another's dharma, meaning
मृत्यु से भी ज्यादा भयावह
that following another's dharma is more scary, more dangerous than even death.
लगता है
Every person has maximum fear of death only. But here Bhagavan is telling something else. He is telling you should be afraid more about following another person's dharma.
पालन करते हुए मर जाओ तो अच्छा है कोई उसमें कोई चिंता की बात नहीं है वो ऐसा कह रहे हैं तो ये बड़ी विचित्र बात यहाँ बोल रहे हैं
So here Bhagavan is telling something very interesting,
जो है आप
that
अपने प्राण भी गंवा दो
even if you have to give up your life
तो लेकिन
for following your dharma, you should be willing to do that. But what is the situation in today's society?
किसी को कोई डर ही नहीं है
Today we see that no one is afraid, nobody is afraid of following
से अपनाया जाता है
another's dharma. They happily accept that.
तो यहाँ पर धर्म को भयावह बता रहे हैं और अब परम धर्म अपनाना जो है एक
So here Bhagavan is telling that it is dangerous to follow another's dharma, but now what we see in society, it has become a symbol of pride to follow another person's dharma. So this is the situation
उल्टा कहते हैं
that we see today. What Bhagavan is teaching is exactly opposite. Bhagavan is saying that
आत्महत्या के समान नहीं है आत्महत्या से
that
भी ज्यादा
paradharma, following another's dharma, is not even equal to suicide. It is more dangerous than suicide.
में मर जाना अच्छा है
Bhagavan is telling, we know that suicide is sinful, but Bhagavan is telling that following another's dharma is more dangerous.
उसका कारण क्या है कि जब आदमी
And what is the reason? The reason is that when a person commits suicide,
अपने चित्त
then he just kills his own body. He doesn't do anything to his chitta.
है वो तो जैसा है वैसा ही
His chitta remains what it is.
पे लटक जाता है लेकिन जब आप परधर्म अपनाते हैं तो आप अपने चित्त का गला घोंटते
When you follow another person's dharma,
क्योंकि क्योंकि आपके संस्कार, आपकी वासनाएं,
then you
आपका
are
स्वभाव तो आपको
trying to kill
चित्त
the whole chitta only.
चित्तानुरूप सर्वस्य
All
श्रद्धालु।
the swabhava, the vasanas, what you get is they all come
तो
from
जब आप
chitta
किसी
only.
धर्म को अपनाते हैं तो
When
निश्चित
you
ही
follow another person's
आप
dharma,
अपने चित्त की आत्महत्या कर रहे हैं,
you are trying, then it is like doing
जो कि शरीर की हत्या
suicide
से ज्यादा खतरनाक है,
or killing the chitta
क्योंकि होने
itself,
वाली तो
which
हत्या
is
उसी
even
की है,
more dangerous than
जिससे
killing the
कोई
body,
मुक्ति नहीं
because
है।
anyway it is not possible to kill the
आप
chitta.
त्रिशंकु की तरह बीच में
So
लटके हुए
then
हैं।
you keep hanging in the
तो
between
इसलिए
like Trishanku.
हमें
You neither followed your
अपने
swadharma
स्वधर्म
nor you could kill the
और
chitta.
स्वधर्म पर ध्यान,
So we should focus on our swadharma
हमारी
and we should
जिज्ञासा
be very careful
हमको
of following another
सफलता
person's
मिलेगी
dharma.
जीवन में,
If we
कि
if we work like
मैं इस
this,
बात
then
को
we will
ध्यान में
achieve
बनाए
success
कि
in
मैं क्या
life.
हूँ
We should
और मैं क्या हो सकता हूँ।
remain aware about what
तो
we
ये
are, what
करने
is
के लिए
our
थोड़ा बहुत
capability,
साहस की
what we can
जरूरत है।
become. So it
इसलिए
needs a lot
साहस
of
चाहिए
courage to follow
कि
dharma.
अपने उस पर
One needs to be highly
अटल रहना।
courageous to follow
नहीं
his
तो
swadharma.
माँ बाप कहते हैं बेटा तू
Because
इंजीनियर
what
बन,
happens is the parents
अब
they
उसकी
force the children that you
इच्छा
become
नहीं है,
engineer.
मतलब उसका स्वभाव संगीत का है और उसको आप बना दो इंजीनियर,
Let's say somebody's
तो कैसे
swabhava
इंजीनियरिंग
is
करेगा,
to be a musician, but you
क्यों
try to
मेहनत
make
करेगा।
him engineer.
और मैं ऐसे लोगों
Then
को
how will
जानता हूँ
he remain happy as an
कि
engineer?
एक
He
ही
will always
परिस्थिति
remain
में
miserable.
उनके माँ
I know
बाप
such people,
किसी
many people that
क्षेत्र
uh,
विशेष में पढ़ने के लिए
their
लगाते हैं,
parents
उन्होंने पढ़
force
लिया
them to
और वो
study in a
बहुत बढ़िया
particular
बन गए,
field
नहीं तो और
and
दूसरी
pressurize them a
बहुत
lot,
अच्छी योग्यता
and
प्राप्त की, लेकिन उनका मन
that
तो नहीं लगा,
person, that boy or girl achieved
तो वो
degrees,
दुखी रहते हैं।
academic achievements in
तो
that
उसका
field,
परिणाम
but
क्या
the
है
person is not
कि
happy.
इससे तो हमको
So what was the result?
सुख चाहिए था,
Because ultimately
तो
what we
हमको
desire in life is
महंगी चीजें,
happiness.
हमारे जीवन में
Ultimately we should
सुख,
achieve
तीर्थ
happiness.
प्रसाद, यही तो सबकी इच्छा है। लेकिन अब माँ बाप उस क्षेत्र में क्यों लगाते हैं, क्योंकि वो
But
देखते
why
हैं कि इस
are
क्षेत्र में
the
जाने से हमको
parents
पैसा मिलेगा,
forcing their
हम
children
कहेंगे
to get
बेटा
into
वो
such field?
हमको
Because parents see that there
सस्ता
is a lot
मिल
of,
पड़ेगा, पेट्रोल
you can earn a
मिलेगा,
lot of money in that
इसलिए
field.
बनाएंगे उसको
Otherwise
इंजीनियर
they
बनाएंगे,
scare the children that you will have to work as a labor in petrol pump or
सर्वर बनने
your
के लिए
life
इसी
will
तरह
be
से बनाते हैं।
miserable like
तो
this.
अपने स्वभाव को छोड़कर किसी
So then
दूसरे
what
क्षेत्र
happens?
में
The children
वो अध्ययन
they
करते
give
हैं,
up their
तो उसमें उनको
swabhava and
या
they
तो सफल ही
study
नहीं होगा
in some other field
और फिर
wherein either they will not
उसकी
be
मन में समाज
successful,
बैठेगी,
or
या
even
फिर
if they
वो
have achieved
कहेगा कुछ
something,
मादक द्रव्य का उपयोग करेगा,
they will not be
इसलिए
happy,
हमारे
and
पूर्वजों की
they, in
परंपरा
order to
में
get rid of their
आज
misery, they
इतने
will
मादक द्रव्यों का
take to
उपयोग होता है
intoxicants.
कॉलेज
Nowadays
यूनिवर्सिटी के
there
कैंपस
is
पर,
so much of rampant drug
तो
abuse going on
समाज
in
में ये
college campuses, hostels, etc. It's a very
कि
dangerous, very
जिसको
precarious
हमारे
situation.
समाज में एक ब्रह्मचर्य आश्रम बोलते हैं,
That
और
in
जिसको
our
हमारी
shastras, student life
रियलिस्ट
is
जीवन
celebrated as brahmacharya ashram,
वहाँ
a
वो
life
चीज़ों
of
को कर रहे हैं,
immense regulation,
और
discipline.
ये मादक द्रव्य
But
और
nowadays, that entire
कामवासनाओं
student life, which should be of brahmacharya,
इसमें
that is
खो
being
रहे हैं।
wasted in intoxicants.
तो ये
Students are
जीवन में क्या
so
करें,
much absorbed in
इसका मूल
intoxicants.
कारण यही है कि
Then what
हमारे
will they achieve in their
अपने
life?
स्वभाव के
Now
अनुरूप
the why they are becoming like this, the
ठोकर
reason is that something has,
खाने
some
वालों को
other
हर
career
चीज़ में
has been forced upon them.
स्वभाव नहीं
They
है,
are not taking to their own
तो
swabhava.
वो भी रुचि नहीं लेंगे,
The
पढ़ने
people
वाले
who
को
are
भी नहीं, लेकिन
teaching,
उनका
they do
स्वभाव
not
नहीं है
have
किसी
the
विषय को पढ़ने का।
swabhava of teaching,
इसलिए ये
and the
भयानक
student
समस्या
also
है
does not have the swabhava in that particular field.
में, कुछ
So then
कमजोरी
what
है
happens is that the students are miserable,
और
and then
कुछ उनका
they take to
कुछ
intoxication,
व्यक्तियों को इसलिए
launching
करना पड़ता है
agitations here and there,
कि
political unrest. Otherwise,
समाज द्वारा
what do students have got to do with political unrest? Somewhere something is happening in the world and
मतलब
students are
पढ़ाई
launching
लिखाई
agitations. Then what have students got to do with all that?
वो करेंगे
They
तो
should
कैसे
simply
होगा।
focus on their studies. So then this is called
इसलिए
paradharma. Neither they are studying
राजनीति का ही करते हैं,
nor they are
फिर उनको
becoming successful in
नियंत्रित करने
politics.
के लिए इतनी
So
पुलिस
then
चाहिए,
in order to control them you need so much of
ये
police
सारे
force.
तंत्र जो है उसी
So
में
then
निहित है।
so much of
इसलिए
energy
भगवान
of the
कहते हैं कि
administration
आपको
gets wasted in just controlling such unruly
अपने
behavior.
स्वभाव को समझना है,
That's why Bhagavan is telling,
अपने
first
स्वभाव
of
को
all, you
अपना
should
नहीं सकते,
understand your swabhava. You cannot give
किसी
up your
दूसरे स्वभाव को
swabhava,
अपना नहीं सकते,
and you cannot adopt
क्योंकि
another
ये सब
person's swabhava. This is eternal truth.
इसके
This cannot
पीछे
be changed.
अनेक कहानियां किस्से हमारे
There are lots of
शास्त्र
stories
में हैं।
which can prove
एक
this point.
बहुत बड़ी
In our
कहानी
Shastras, there are
दृष्टांत
many such stories.
महाभारत में है, धर्म व्याध
There is a story in
फिर
Mahabharata,
उसमें व्याध
the
गीता
story of Dharma Vyadha.
व्याध गीता व्याध माने हंटर।
So what he spoke, that is called Vyadha Gita. Vyadha means
उसमें क्या है कि
hunter.
एक ब्राह्मण
So the story goes like
लड़का था
this. So there
कौशिक,
was a Brahmin boy.
तो
His
उसने
name was
पढ़ाई वढ़ाई
Kaushik.
तो
He
बंद कर दी,
stopped his
जो उसका
studies.
धर्म था उस समय,
That was,
और
although that was his
महाभारत
dharma,
को छोड़
and
के
he gave up
वन में चला
his
गया।
parents
तपस्या
and
करने
went to the
उसने
forest
तपस्या के बल से सब कुछ
for
प्राप्त किया।
tapasya.
तपस्या करने के
He
द्वारा
had a desire to
ज्ञान
achieve
जो तपस्या से
anything
प्राप्त
by
नहीं
the
था,
power of tapasya. He thought
तो
that
वहाँ उसने गहन
anything
तपस्या
can be
की
achieved by tapasya. So he
और
did severe
उसकी
austerity
जटाएं बढ़ गई
in the forest.
और
So
लंबी लंबी
he
जटाएं
grew
उसने
lot of
सिर पे बांध ली,
long matted locks. Hair had
और
grown very
एक
long.
स्थान पर खड़ा रहता
So
था
there was some jata on his
और
head,
इतना
and
निश्चल
he used
भाव
to
से खड़ा
just
रहता था
stand
कि कुछ पक्षियों
up
ने आके उसके
straight,
अंडे दिए,
upright. So he was so fixed up
उसका
while
जो
standing
जटाजूट
that
ऊपर था
some
उसको
birds
अंडा बना दिया उसमें।
they made his jata as a nest and they laid
तो
eggs
उसको
in
पता
that.
चला, पता था कि अंडे दिए, तो अब वो बिल्कुल हिलता डुलता नहीं था कि
So Kaushik
मैं
understood
कहीं
that,
हिलूंगा डुलूंगा
and
तो
he was not
गिर जाऊंगा।
wavering at all because he was scared
तो
that if
वहां पर
I
से बच्चे निकले
start shaking or
और
moving,
उड़े
the
हुए
eggs will
बाग
fall down, they'll
जब
break.
उड़ गए तब वो वहां से हिला।
So the birds were
तो
born,
ऐसी ही
and
कहानी
when
है
they flew
तपस्या
away,
की।
then Kaushik
तो एक दिन वो
moved
एक
from
पेड़ के
there.
नीचे बैठा हुआ था
So, like this,
तपस्या
he
के
did
बाद,
severe
उसके
austerity.
ऊपर एक
One day, he was sitting under a
गिलहरी उसके
tree
ऊपर
and doing
बैठी
his
थी,
tapasya, and
जब भी वो
the
खाती तो उसको
one
गुस्सा
bird
आता
from
था
above
कि
passed stool on
इसलिए कहते
him.
हैं उनको गुस्सा
So,
बहुत आता
people
है।
who do such tapasya, they are prone to
तो उसने
severe
उस
anger.
चिड़िया को देखा तो उसको
So, he
गुस्सा
was
आया
so
और वो
angry.
चिड़िया मर गई।
He saw the bird, and just by his seeing that bird, his
तब इसको
power,
बहुत अभिमान
the
हुआ कि
bird
अब
fell down.
मेरी तपस्या सिद्ध
The
हो गई
bird died. So, this Kaushik, he became very proud
कि अब मैंने चिड़िया को
that
देखा
now my
और मेरी
tapasya, my
तपस्या
austerity
सिद्ध हो
has
गई,
become
अब चिड़िया
successful,
मर गई इसलिए मेरी अभी
and
तपस्या
just by
सिद्ध हो
my
गई।
anger,
तपस्या करते हुए लोग कुछ लोग ऐसा ही सोचते हैं।
the bird died. So
तो
I
उसने
have
बहुत
become a
प्रयोग किया
powerful
कि तुम्हारे
tapasvi.
देखने से चिड़िया
So
मर गई
many
इसलिए मैं
tapasvis,
बड़ा हूँ।
they think like this. So
तो
it
उसको
doesn't make
संसार
any
से
sense
प्रेम था।
actually. I mean, by if you
तो
killed the
उसने
bird by your vision, what did you achieve by that?
तो
But
गांव
then
में भ्रमण
he
करने गया,
became proud. So he went to the
गांव गांव
village
जाके उसने
to beg
भिक्षा
alms
मांगी,
there to do bhiksha.
भिक्षाम देही, कि मुझे भिक्षा दीजिए।
He was
तो खड़ा
asking
हुआ
for
था,
bhiksha.
अंदर जो गृहिणी थी वो
So
बाहर आई,
the
उसको भिक्षा
lady who
देने
was
के लिए।
inside, she did not come
तो
out
उसने कहा
to
भिक्षा
give
दो,
bhiksha. So Kaushik again
तो भी
requested,
वो नहीं आई। तो
please
ऐसा
give
नियम है
bhiksha.
कि किसी के घर पर जाकर
So
आप
it's
भिक्षा
a
मांगने
rule
जाइए,
that if you go to
तुम्हारे घर में
somebody, if
जो
tapasvi
भी
goes to
आता है
somebody's home and asks for
सुरक्षित
bhiksha
हो जाइए।
for 3 times,
तो उसने
and if
3 बार, तीसरी
nobody
बार
gives
फिर कहा
bhiksha,
भिक्षाम
then you
देही,
go to some other
तो
home.
बाहर उसको
So he
भिक्षा
asked,
मांगने के लिए
he
भेजा गया।
requested 3 times. Still,
तो
the
वो
lady
बड़ा
did not
भिखारी
come
था,
out, and Kaushik
तो उसको अपनी
became
तपस्या का
angry
अभिमान था,
because
और
he was
अभिमान
proud
जब
of his
अपना
tapasya,
बुद्धि में होता है,
and pride
तो
results into
जब वो
anger.
खड़ा हुआ था तो फिर
So
गृहिणी
out of
आई और
anger,
उसने
he was
भिक्षा लेके दी,
standing there,
और उसने कहा
and
कि
the lady came out
थोड़ी देर हो
and
गई
she begged
कि आपने भेजा
forgiveness
है। तो अब तो
because
उसको
she was
गुस्सा
late.
आ गया था,
So
क्रोध आ गया
now
था, और क्रोध
Kaushik was
सम्मोहात्
already
बुद्धिर्भवति,
angry.
सम्मोहात्
And we know that
भ्रम,
Krodha leads to delusion,
सम्मोहवशात् बुद्धि
and
भ्रष्टा।
then the memory is
तो
lost.
अब ये भूल गया कि मैं भिखारी हूँ और वो तो
Now this
भिक्षा देने
Kaushik
वाली है,
forgot that I am a
तो आपको
tapasvi,
उनके ऊपर गुस्सा नहीं करना
and
चाहिए।
I should not
तो
be
उसने कहा कि
angry
आप इतनी देर से
on
खड़े
the
हैं,
lady
तो
who is giving me
मैं
bhiksha.
आपकी सेवा में खड़ा
So
हूँ।
he was angry, he spoke angrily that why were you late? So she
तो
replied that I
गृहिणी
was
बोली
feeding my
कि
husband,
आपको पता नहीं
so
मैं
I
यहाँ
was
खड़ा
late.
हुआ हूँ।
So Kaushik said
तो
that
उसने
don't
कहा
you
कि
know
मैंने
that I
आपकी
am
तपस्या
standing
को
here,
सुना
I
था,
am
आपकी
waiting.
आवाज़
So
को
she
सुना था।
replied that yes, Maharaj, I heard
तो
you
उसने फिर और
and
गुस्सा
I
किया
knew
कि
that you
मुझे
were
पता है तो
waiting.
फिर तुम आई क्यों
So
नहीं।
then he asked
तो
that
उसने
if
कहा देखो
you knew
महाराज,
already,
मैं
why were
कोई
you
भेड़
late?
नहीं हूँ
So she replied
कि
that
आप
Maharaj,
मुझे
please
गुस्से से
understand
देखेंगे
that
और
I am
मुझे
not
मारेंगे।
the bird that you will look at me
तो
angrily
उसने जब ये
and
सुना
I will die.
तो वो
So
बड़ा
when
आश्चर्य
Kaushik
चकित
heard
हुआ
this, then he
कि
was
मैं तो अभी जंगल
surprised.
से आया हूँ, मैंने तो किसी से बात भी नहीं किया,
He
मुझसे
thought that I
भिक्षा
have
मांगने
just
के लिए
come
क्यों
from
खड़ा
the
हूँ।
forest. how did she know
अब
that
उसका
the
अभिमान तो
bird died
ठंडा हुआ।
just by my looking at the bird? So now his
उन्होंने पूछा
anger
माँ आपको
subsided,
कैसे पता है
and then he
तो
asked that, "Oh mother, how do you know
कहता है जो
that the bird
आपको
died?"
प्राप्त है इस
So
तपस्या
the
की वजह
lady
से
replied
मुझे
that the power that you have acquired
लगता है आप
by
पागल
this
बैठे हो
tapasya,
कोई
I
तपस्या
have more power than you. So he was surprised that you are not doing any tapasya. So how come you
स्त्री का
have so much power?
पत्नी का
So
धर्म
she replied that I am
धर्म
following my
और
dharma as a
इसी से
wife,
मेरे को इतना
serving my
अधिकार है
husband, and by
इसी
following
से
my
मेरे
own
को
swadharma, I have acquired so much power.
हम इतने
So
दिन
Kaushik
काम करते हैं
realized that I am a fool. I wasted so
तो
much time in my life standing there doing severe austerity. So
वो कहता
he
है कि आपको
requested the lady
धर्म का उपदेश
that
करने का
please
वैसे कोई
instruct
अधिकार नहीं
me
है
on dharma.
और
But the lady replied
आपको
that
आता भी नहीं है
I am a woman.
आपको
It
धर्म
is
के
not
बारे में
my
नहीं पता है
dharma to instruct you
तो
on
आप
dharma.
मिथिला जाइए
But if
वहाँ
you
पे एक
actually
व्याध
want to
है
learn dharma, you go to
वो आपको
Mithila.
उपदेश
There
करेगा
is a Vyad or
उसका
hunter
तपस्या
there,
क्या है
and he will instruct
मैं
you
ब्राह्मण
on dharma.
और
So
मैं
Kaushik was
उसको
surprised
धर्म का
that
उपदेश
I am a
करूं
Brahman and
उसका
she is
तरीका
telling me
बिल्कुल
to go to
उल्टा
Mithila
दिया उन्होंने
and
मैंने नहीं
take
दिया
instruction on dharma from a Vyad,
उसकी
from a
पत्नी
hunter.
अगर कहती है
It's
और
so
आपको
disgraceful.
कैसे पता
So the
है
lady
कि
completely
वहाँ पे
crushed
कौन
his
व्याध रहता है आप कहाँ
ego.
रहती हैं कहता है वो सब
And
जानते
then
हैं
he
मैं नहीं
asked
जानती हूँ
that how do you know that a Vyadha
तो
is
उसको
living
थोड़ा
there in
उससे थोड़ा
Mithila?
हुई
So she
जानकारी
replied that I have Divya Drishti and divine vision. I understand all that.
दोनों का मेल कैसे है तो वहां से फिर वो
So Kaushik was
ढूंढते ढूंढते
surprised.
मिथिला
How
गया
can a Vyadha know about dharma?
ढूंढते ढूंढते उसने पता लगाया धर्म व्याध तो धर्म
So
व्याध
he went to Mithila and he
जो है
was
वो उपदेश
searching
बेचता था
where is Dharma Vyad. So ultimately he
जब
found
वो वहां पहुंचा
Dharma
तो
Vyad
उसने पूछा
and
धर्म व्याध आप
he saw that this
कहता हाँ
person
मैं
he
धर्म
had a
व्याध हूँ
meat shop.
किसी ने भेजा होगा आपको
So he asked, "Are you
उसने
Dharma Vyad?"
ऐसे
So then Dharma Vyad replied that,
ऐसे
"Oh, yeah,
कैसे
I realized that lady must have
उसने
sent you."
व्हाट्सएप
So
वगैरह
now
नहीं था
Kaushik was even more surprised. There is no WhatsApp. How did he
आपको
know
कैसे पता चला
that the lady has
तो उसने
asked
पूछा कि
me to
आपको
meet
कैसे
this
पता कि
person?
उन्होंने
So
भेजा
he asked him,
तो कहता
he asked the Dharma Vyad, "How do you
उससे
know?"
मेरे को मैं अपने धर्म का पालन
So
करता
Dharma
हूँ
Vyad said that I am
तो उसने
following my
कैसे जाना
dharma,
तो कहता
my
तब उसने
swadharma.
पूछा
That's why I have this knowledge.
बहस कर
So Kaushik said, "What type of dharma are you following? You are selling meat."
तो उसने कहा बैठिए यार थोड़ा मैं अपना काम कर लूँ फिर
So
घर
he
चलते हैं
replied
आपको मैं
that please wait,
दिखाऊंगा
let me complete
मेरे
my
अभी दुकान का
job,
टाइम है तो आप बैठिए
then
यहाँ पे
we will go home
तो उसको
and
बैठाया
then I
करीब दो
will
चार घंटे
explain to you.
फिर
So
जब
he
उसने कहा
made Kaushik sit for few hours and then it was time to
फिर उसको
close
घर पे लेके गया
the shop.
फिर धर्म
He
व्याध ने उसको
closed
उपदेश
it.
दिया
He
कि
took
महाभारत
Kaushik to his
में
home and he
अध्याय
instructed Kaushik on dharma.
और
And
एक
in
अध्याय
Mahabharat
क्या ये
there is
अध्याय
a
उसका
there are separate
नाम है धर्म
chapters
व्याध गीता है
and the chapters are
महाभारत में
entitled
एक ही
Dharma
गीता है
Vyad Gita. In
हमारे हिंदू
Mahabharat,
धर्म
there
में
are
एक
many
केवल गीता
Gitas,
नहीं है
like we have Bhagavad Gita, that is also part of
पूरा
Mahabharat.
वो
So there is this Dharma Vyad
उपदेश
Gita
दिया कि
separately.
धर्म क्या है
So he
और कैसे
instructed
उसको
Kaushik on
धर्म
Dharma,
का जो सार है वो यही है कि अपने स्वधर्म का पालन
and
करो
the essence of his teaching
का देखो
was to
मैं
follow
ब्राह्मण
one's
कुल में
Swadharma.
पैदा हुआ हूँ
So Dharma Vyad
इसलिए मेरे को
explained
ये
that, see,
कोई
I am born in this
धर्म
Vyadha
वगैरह उसको मैं
Kul or this
स्वयं
dynasty, so I
नहीं
am
करता
just doing following my duty.
क्योंकि मेरा एक
I
कर्म है
myself
मैं ये करता हूँ
have
लेकिन
no
मैं धर्म का
interest in
पालन
killing
करूँ
others,
अपने बच्चों का पालन
but
पोषण
this is
करूँ
I am born in this and it is my job.
बिल्कुल
So I'm just
जैसे
doing that
उचित होता है
to
उसके अनुसार मैं जीवन
feed my
जीता हूँ
family, to serve
इसलिए
my
मेरे को दिव्य
parents.
ज्ञान
I'm
प्राप्त
living
हुआ
as a grihastha. That's why I have Divya
तो
Gyan,
ये
even though I'm a
कहानी
Vyadha.
महाभारत में है
So this
इसी को
story is
समझाने के
in
लिए इस
Mahabharat
वचन को
to
जिसने
explain this
उपदेश दिया
point of
उसका पालन
Swadharma.
कर रहे हैं श्रेयान स्वधर्मो विगुण परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् तो शास्त्र में महाभारत में विशेष तौर से इस पर बहुत
So
बल
in
दिया गया है
Shastra,
जैसे
in
अपन धर्म का
Mahabharat,
पालन
lot
करना
of
चाहिए
stress has been given
और
on this point
वहाँ
about
ये भी कहा
following
गया है कि
one's
केवल अपने
Swadharma.
धर्म में
And
आप अपने जीवन
Shastra
को जी
says
सकते हैं
that only in a
आप
situation of
सोच रहे होंगे कि
emergency
ब्राह्मण जो है वो
where
केवल
there may
अपने
be a threat
वैश्य
to
धर्म का
your
पालन कर
life,
सकता है
so then
और
Brahman or Kshatriya
क्षत्रिय जो है वो
they can
आपत्ति की स्थिति में ब्राह्मण का और वैश्य का धर्म अपना
do
सकता
the
है
dharma of Vaishya,
जैसा हम देखते हैं
Kshatriya can do Vaishya, dharma of Brahmana
पांडव लोग
or Vaishya in a situation of
युधिष्ठिर के
emergency.
समय
Like we see that
जलाने
when
का प्रयत्न किया
Pandavas,
दुर्योधन ने
when
तो सब
Duryodhan had
युधिष्ठिर
planned
का
to
त्याग
burn them
किया
down in the
द्रौपदी
Lakshagriha,
के साथ में
in the house of Lak,
और
So Pandavas escaped with their mother Kunti from that house, from that palace. They were living in hiding. So they were living dressed as Brahmanas. That's why when they went to the Swayamvar of Draupadi, they went there dressed as Brahmanas. And when nobody could pierce the eye of the fish, then Arjun, when it was the turn of Arjun, people were the Kshatriyas were laughing at him. Being a Brahmana, how can he do that? So he was just dressed as a Brahmana because it was a situation of emergency for the Pandavas. Similarly, when they were living 1 year incognito in Agyatavas at the house, at the palace of King Virat, there also they were following another's dharma. Yudhishthir remained there as a Brahmana. Arjun was teaching dancing to Uttara. Bhim lived as a cook. Arjun was living as a eunuch. The other brothers, they were just taking care of the horses in the stable. So Shastra teaches that whatever dharma you have acquired from your vangsha, from your dynasty, you should follow that. You should not give it up. Only three types of dharma can be given up. One is stealing. Earlier, even the thieves, they were also having their dynasty. There is a shastra that is called Chaura Shastra. How to steal. I have that book in my library. I have even read that. So it says that suppose there is somebody's home and people they drill some hole or something in that and they enter. So that book teaches in what type of home, how the holes should be drilled. It teaches that. And that whatever drilling is to be done, it should be round or it should be square shaped. All this is explained in that book. And should be how much can be stolen. There also some rule is prescribed that you can steal only this much. So that is a Chaurya Shastra. So if someone has come in that parampara, in that vangsha of where there are only thieves, so one can give up that dharma. One can give it up. Those who are killing animals, that dharma can also be given up. Third is if you have the dharma of playing the role of a woman. Man has a duty of playing the role of woman on a stage. He can give up that dharma also. So these three dharmas can be given up. There is no sin in giving them up. So this is following Swadharma. Now this can be analyzed in another way also. Because when we talk of bhakti, it means Swadharma means dharma of Swa. Like we studied in Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter that we are not this body, we are Atma, different from the body. So what is the Swa? Swa is the Atma. And this body, this is Para. So the dharma of the body from that angle is also Paradharma. And from that angle, the entire Varnashram dharma also becomes Paradharma. And what is the dharma of Swa? That is Bhakti.
तो जीव जो है वो भगवान का अंश है.
So Jiva is the Angsha of Bhagavan, and being the Angsha of Bhagavan, the dharma is to serve the Angshi. Not for himself. So our real dharma is to do seva to Bhagavan, to have love for Bhagavan. This is real dharma, and this is what Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam teaches.
धर्मो निर्मत्सराणाम सताम। तो श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यस्य ध्येय पूज्यस्य नित्यदा, बार बार जो वर्णन आता है वो भक्ति का ही आता है वहाँ पर।
So repeatedly there is description of bhakti in Bhagavatam, and that is our real swadharma. So being in this world, we have to understand our swabhava also. It is not that we do not need to understand that. As long as we are in the body, we should function according to the swabhava of the body. But that is not the ultimate goal.
विष्णु आराध्यते पंथान अन्यत् तत्तोष कारणम। तो इस वर्णाश्रम धर्म का उद्देश्य भी,
The whole purpose of Varnashrama Dharma is to please Bhagavan, to serve Bhagavan, to worship Bhagavan.
आत्मा संप्रसिद्धति। तो ये स्वधर्म की जो बात भगवान कर रहे हैं अभी ये शरीर
So
संबंधी,
this point about Swadharma that Bhagavan is explaining, after that the real Swadharma is Bhakti.
शास्त्र का वो भक्ति में ही है। जैसे
The real purpose, the real goal of Shastra is to engage us in Bhakti.
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूय शृणु मे परमं वचन। तो जो सबसे गुह्यतम चीज है वो उसको सुनिए। तो वहाँ वो
So Bhagavan says that now here the most confidential point. There he is not talking about the Swadharma of the body. There he is directly explaining Bhakti.
तो वहाँ असली स्वधर्म की बात।
So there Bhagavan teaches the real Swadharma.
तो ये दूसरी एक विधा है स्वधर्म को समझने की।
So this is another angle of understanding Swadharma. But while living in the society, we have to take up both, not just only Varnashram. As long as we are in the body, our body should function according to the Swabhava. But should remember the ultimate goal of that is Bhakti. So we have to understand Bhakti also. And if you analyze the dharma of the Atma, Atma is Sat, Chit, Ananda. It has existence. So what is the dharma of the Atma? That we live and let others live.
तो इसलिए कोई भी काम ऐसा ना करें कि किसी को कष्ट हो। और चित का मतलब होता
should not do anything that gives misery to others.
तो हम बुद्धि मान रहे हैं।
Chit means chetana, knowledge, consciousness. So we should have knowledge. We should be intelligent. We should not get fooled. We should not fool others. And ananda. So we should not do anything that gives misery to others. We should ourselves remain happy and not make others miserable, make others also happy. So then, this is actually the dharma of the Atma, and that dharma has to be followed by the body only. That's why Paradharma Bhayava means what is Anatma, what is not Atma, that is the body. If we simply lead feeding and nurturing the body, being aware only about the body, then we will continue in this cycle of birth and death. So this Paradharma Bhayava can be explained till that extent from the point of view of bhakti also. So this is a very important point that Bhagavan is teaching.
ये हमको समझाती है किस प्रकार,
and this verse in Gita teaches us
अपने जीवन को
how
इस प्रकार से जिएं
we can live in a way that we do not make others miserable,
दूसरों को मूर्ख ना बनाएं,
we do not fool others, we do not cheat others, and we ourselves also do not get fooled, do not get cheated, and do not remain miserable, and we ourselves also live happily.
तो उसके लिए स्वधर्म का पालन करना,
So for that,
और
it is important to follow one's own swadharma, and in order to follow one's swadharma, one has to do swadhyaya, study of shastra, satsanga, chanting, harinam. These are all swadharma, real swadharma, and they are applicable to everyone. The swadharma of the Atma is applicable to everyone, irrespective of his or her varna or ashram, because every living being is Atma only. So everyone should follow this Swadharma,
इससे फिर अपना कल्याण होगा।
and this will lead us to our ultimate benefit.
समाप्त करते हैं।
So we will stop here, and if you have any question, you can ask.
गौर जी का प्रश्न है
Question:
कि दूसरे व्यक्ति के धर्म
what are the symptoms of doing another person's dharma? How can we check?
ये होगा जब पहले आप अपना
Answer:
इसमें
you
जैसे
will be
दूसरे
able
का
to understand. First, you should understand your dharma.
ठीक है,
Like you live in your residence.
पूछोगे
If you start living in another person's residence and ask, what is the symptom
तो अगर
by
आपके
which I can identify
मकान है
I am living in another person's house?
मकान में
So if you know that where is your house, then you know you are now living in another person's house. So if you know your swabhava
कार्य नहीं
and you are not working according to your swabhava, then you are working according to another person's swabhava.
उनका ही दूसरा प्रश्न है अपने
Next
स्वभाव का
question:
पता लगाने
what
के लिए
methods would you recommend
विधि का
to
सुझाव
figure
दें।
out our swabhava?
हमने एक
The answer:
टेस्ट
for that we have already designed a
स्वयं भी पता लगा
test.
सकते हैं, लेकिन एक थोड़ी सी दिशा
You
निर्देश के
can
लिए
figure out yourself also, but for some guidance
वैदिक साइकोलॉजी इंस्टीट्यूट .com
in Vedic Psychology Institute website, you can do that.
यूट्यूब से एक प्रश्न है क्या वैराग्य और आसक्ति से प्रभावित न होने का प्रयास
Question:
करने से स्वभाव पर कोई असर पड़ता है?
if we do not follow vairagya,
क्या असर पड़ेगा?
what will be the effect on swabhava?
तो कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा, स्वभाव पे असर तो तभी पड़ेगा जब आप उसको
Swabhava will be influenced only when you try to change it. If you are not influenced by anyone, you will remain what you are.
काम होता है।
So changing swabhava is anyway so difficult.
मेरा एक प्रश्न है बाबा जी कि आपने बताया कि परधर्म का
Question:
पालन करना
you said that
यानी अपने चित्त का घला घोटना।
following
तो
another
मेरा ये
person's
प्रश्न है कि
dharma
इस प्रकार
is
चित्त
like
का घला
trying to
घोटना
kill our own
मौत
chitta.
से भी भयानक है, यानी अपने शरीर
So
को
my
मृत्यु से भी
question
भयानक है,
is,
क्योंकि आपने यह भी बताया
why is it more
कि
dangerous even
चित्त
than
का गला हम
even compared to death?
चित्त हम अपना स्वभाव हम बदल नहीं सकते हैं, तो किस प्रकार यह
So
ज्यादा
when we
भयानक है?
cannot change the swabhava, then why is it so dangerous? So trying to kill chitta means basically what you could have become according to your swabhava, you could not become.
मनुष्य का परम उद्देश्य है,
And if you cannot do that,
परम श्रेय जिसके लिए अर्जुन ने
then
पूछा था ना, ये न श्रेय हम आपने
Arjun had asked about his Paramashreya, his ultimate benefit,
जिससे मेरे को श्रेयस की प्राप्ति हो।
what will be supremely beneficial for me. So Shreyas is moksha as well as bhakti. So we will not get that. So this is only trying to kill the chitta.
संदीप जी कृपया अपना प्रश्न पूछें।
प्रणाम बाबा जी महाराज। तो आपने ना पहले जब ही वर्णाश्रम की चर्चा हुई थी तो आपने
So
समझाया था
question,
कि
earlier in a discussion on Varnashram, you had said that if a Shudra
उसकी प्रोग्रेस होती है, लेकिन यहाँ
follows
पे
his Swadharma, how he will progress
उसके अनुसार आदमी को अपने
to the upper Varna in his next birth.
धर्म के अनुसार
But today, as you explained, that everyone should function according to his Swabhava, so those samskaras will become more solidified. Then how will he become a Vaishya and then Kshatriya, then Brahman in the upcoming births? So answer, first of all, you heard just half part, you did not hear the other part. What I explained that time was that was the Karma Yoga of Purva Mimamsa, and this is the Karma Yoga of Gita, which is different. Here Bhagavan is telling again and again that perform your karma.
ये बात मैंने कई बार दोहराई है कि ये जो भगवत गीता का
I
कर्म योग
have
है
spoken again and again that this Karma Yoga of Bhagavad Gita,
अलग है, इसमें भगवान और भगवान के
it is little different than the popular Karma Yoga of Purva Mimamsa. Here there is offering to Bhagavan.
क्षत्रिय बनेंगे।
So here it is not that you will become Vaishya, Kshatriya, etc. Bhagavan is telling in this life itself,
संसिद्धि लभते नरा 18वें अध्याय में कहते हैं भगवान के आप संसिद्धि आपको प्राप्त होगी।
In 18th chapter, he says that you will achieve some siddhi, perfection. In this chapter also earlier he said that kings like Janaka, they achieved perfection just by following karma yoga. So Gita is not teaching that karma yoga of the Puromimamsa type.
दिव्यनिताई जी कृपया अपना प्रश्न पूछें।
बाबा जी प्रणाम, दंडवत प्रणाम बाबा जी। महाराज जी, ये जो प्रश्न स्पेशली आपने अंत में ये भक्ति के लिए बताया कि स्वधर्म, जहाँ पर हम आत्मा के धर्म को लेकर
Question
चलते
at the end when you spoke about Swadharma as bhakti
माना जाता है, तो
and
भक्ति
just
में
focusing on bodies, that is paradharma.
पढ़ते हैं बार-बार, जैसे जहाँ भगवान कृष्ण एक तरफ
So in Gita, when we hear repeatedly, Bhagavan is saying that I appear in every yuga to establish dharma. So this dharma that Bhagavan is talking of establishing, so
धर्म की स्थापना करना वो अलग है, या जो लास्ट में जो आप बताए मन मना भव मद भक्त,
so establishing varnashram dharma, that is different, or there is talking about bhakti.
भगवान नहीं चाहते कि संसार में भी व्यवस्थाएं, क्योंकि जहाँ पर साइकोफिजिकल नेचर की बात आती है वहाँ पर कि संसार की व्यवस्थाओं में हमें अपना अपना रोल निभाना है, और दूसरा अल्टीमेट धर्म
Because we all have to perform our roles in the samsara.
कि जैसे हम देखते हैं कि गोस्वामी लोग या इवन चैतन्य महाप्रभु,
The
they
question
left, social system.
is that Goswamis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they discarded the social systems, they left that.
होने के नाते भी हम
So
इस पे ज्यादा फोकस करें कि
as a sadhak, what should we focus on? How should we move ahead?
नहीं, इसमें थोड़ा समझिए उसको। मैंने
Answer,
स्वयं भी बताया था कि
I had told earlier also that the dharma of Atma, Swadharma, that is bhakti, and the dharma of body, that is varnashram dharma. So you have to, both should be in harmony.
कहती है, ये गीता भी भगवान कहते हैं अंत में जाके। तो
In
ऐसा
Gita
नहीं
also Bhagavan will speak at the end. So there is no contradiction that you have to give up one, you have to take up other.
मन में होती है। चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने छोड़ा नहीं था, उन्होंने संन्यास
People
लिया
think
तो
like this. Mahaprabhu had did not given up anything. He had taken to sannyas, and sannyas is a part of varnashram dharma.
संन्यास आश्रम ग्रहण किया।
Our Goswamis, they also accepted the
गोस्वामी सनातन गोस्वामी
renounced order.
लिया, लेकिन वो दूसरे
They took sannyas, but that was a different type of sannyas.
महाप्रभु ने किया। वो जो पुराना वाला संन्यास था, उस तरह का संन्यास ना हो के ये भक्ति।
The sannyas of Goswamis was not like the old type of sannyas. It was the sannyas in bhakti.
विरोध किया है, उसको छोड़ा।
So it is not that they
जब ये बात की जाती है,
opposed
भगवान कहते हैं सर्वधर्म
varnashram dharma or left.
शरणं व्रज, तो
When Bhagavan says sarva dharman parityajya, when so now the question may be that Bhagavan is speaking about giving up dharma.
नहीं है।
So that giving up dharma is not in its swarupa itself. What it means is that the varnashram dharma that a person performs, he considers that varnashram dharma as the ultimate goal.
धर्म ही नहीं है।
But the goal of dharma is not dharma itself.
वर्णाश्रम धर्म, वर्णाश्रम
As I said,
आचरण
that
किया जाता है, वो भी विष्णु
the
आराधते पंथानां।
those who follow varnashram, that varnashrama is also for worshipping Vishnu only. So the goal of varnashrama is bhakti itself.
तो धर्मस्य ही अपवर्गस्य, तो धर्म जो है वो नार्थो अर्थाय उपकल्पते, धर्म का उद्देश्य भी अपवर्ग ही है।
So the goal of dharma is also apavarga only, and for us apavarga is bhakti,
5वें स्कंद में सुखदेव गोस्वामी
as it is explained in 5th canto of Bhagavatam by Sri Shukdev Goswami.
शरणागति भक्ति है। तो इन दोनों में कोई विरोध नहीं है, लेकिन
So there is no contradiction,
विरोध पैदा होता है।
but due to not understanding properly,
छोड़ने की बात
we feel there is contradiction.
गीता छोड़ने के बाद में उसने युद्ध किया।
Arjun continued, and Arjun fought in the war after hearing Gita, because the last thing he had heard was Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Then why did he fight? So he fought as a seva to Bhagavan. So one is when you follow Varnashram Dharma, you can follow it as Dharma and then you do Karmarpan. That is one method. and other is you follow that for pleasure of Bhagavan, for Bhagavan's satisfaction. So that is why whatever is your psychophysical makeup, you anyway cannot give it up. This is what we see. The people who were working outside, they join some spiritual organization, but they do the same thing after they just change their dress and they do the same thing. And they say that no, I have given that previous life, given up that previous life. How can you give it up? You can give up everything else. How can you give up yourself only? How is that possible? How can water give up its own swarupa? Then it will not remain water only. This is not possible. This is what Bhagavan is explaining repeatedly. It's important to understand that. What is required is to engage that swabhava in bhakti, because that is our internal dharma.
और महाराज जी एक दूसरा कॉन्सेप्ट जो ये श्रीमद् भागवतम में आता है कि जिसको सुन के हम कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि जैसे प्रहलाद महाराज जी
So question, another thing that we hear in Bhagavatam and we feel confused.
की अपेक्षा नहीं करते दुख आते हैं, ऐसी सुख की भी अपेक्षा नहीं करके सुख आएंगे.
Just like without expecting dukha, dukha appears, and similarly without expecting sukha, sukha appears. So our whole focus should be on bhakti only, not on varnashram. Then the shraddha that we have for karma,
तो फिर इसमें हम ज्यादा परिवर्तन ला नहीं सकते, इसलिए
as
ज्यादा
is said that our swabhava is fixed only. So then
उसमें करना चाहिए. तो वहां से
we
फिर
should
ये
wholly focus on Swarup Siddha Bhakti only. Answer, what did Prahlad Maharaj do? Did he do only Swarupa Siddha Bhakti? He wanted to go with Bhagavan. He was praying to Bhagavan that when will you call me as your dasa? But Bhagavan left. Prahlad Maharaj, he married, he ruled the kingdom, and then he had his own son. So we have to understand all this properly. We just read something and they then get confused, and then people preach also like this. But how will you give it up? You just explain to me, how will you give it up? Those who are already qualified like that, for that only I told about sannyas, like Sri Rup Sanatan Goswami, they gave that up. But then what they adopted, that the renounced order, what we call Babaji Vesh or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took the traditional type of sannyas, and Goswamis, they adopted another type of renounced order, the system which Mahaprabhu created for them. So they were all qualified to be that. But those who are not qualified, how will they give up? Goswamis had qualification. That's why they could not continue working under the king, what they were doing earlier. They did not like that. They were even ready to go to jail.
तो ऐसी स्थिति में आप ये कर सकते हैं पूरा.
So if you are qualified like that, then you can do this. And even when they were living in the renounced order, they worked so hard. They got temples constructed. There was absolutely no transportation system. Even today, constructing a temple is so challenging. The Goswamis constructed temple when there was no help, support, raw material, transportation, nothing. Everything was brought from outside. Today, everything is available here. Whatever raw material you want to purchase, everything is available here. Labor is there. But the Goswamis had absolutely nothing. They had to write books. They had neither paper nor ink. Today you can sit with the computer and you can write book in the computer. So the Goswamis, they worked so hard. So is it like what people say? They just spread all kinds of rumors. They were living under separate trees every night, just wearing kopin. If you live like this, how will you write books? I also write books, so I know what a challenge it is to write books. They constructed libraries. Jiva Goswami ji had an entire library. Now you will say that no, he was a divine personality, everything was in his memory. These are all stories. They sound very nice. And people write all kinds of stories only. But when you go at the level of reality, then they had to work hard, like how we have to work hard. Yeah, it is definitely true that they had amazing alaukic intelligence, understanding, but they also had to study everything, all the Puranas, Sahityas, Vyakaran, Shaddarshan, Sahitya, etc. They studied everything like we have to study. Yeah, they had immense capability, so they grasped everything very quickly. They understood the essence, but don't think that they did not have to work hard and everything just dropped from the sky for them. You should read the will of the legal will written by Shri Jiva Goswami, then you will understand what was their thought process.
महाराज जी जैसे हाँ महाराज जी जैसे आपने लास्ट ये ऐड किया कि अल्टीमेटली वो पर्टिकुलर किसी व्यक्ति की योग्यता है जिनको उस प्रकार का धर्म का पालन करने के लिए बोला गया है, तो इसका मतलब कि भक्ति मार्ग में आने वाला हर
So, as you
साधक
said, they were
ultimately
qualified, so they were
point जहाँ
told
अल्टीमेटली he has to give
to
कर्मा।
do that.
गिव अप कर्मा का क्या मतलब होता है, मैं पूछ रहा हूँ। उन्होंने कर्म
What do
छोड़
you
दिया
mean
था,
by give up karma? That is what I am asking you again and again. What did they give up?
कर्म छोड़ दिया था।
वर्णाश्रम की ड्यूटीज का मतलब महाराज जी।
हाँ, तो वर्णाश्रम तो मैं वही बताया ना, आपकी बात दिमाग में नहीं आ रही है, वो वर्णाश्रम का है तो
So, as I
लोगों ने
already told
सन्यास
you,
लिया, वो
when you
वर्णाश्रम
say Varnashram, what the sannyas they took, it is like Varnashram only or no? Then what did they give up?
लेकिन वो
महाराज
वर्णाश्रम
जी
आपको
मैं
दिख नहीं रहा है।
हाँ
चैतन्य
But
महाप्रभु ने वर्णाश्रम छोड़ा, आपने भी कहा, लेकिन उन्होंने तो सन्यास लिया था,
you
नहीं
said
लिया?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave up Varnashram, but he adopted sannyas order.
धर्म का पालन किया या नहीं किया उन्होंने?
He followed the dharma of sannyas or no?
किया था ना। जगदानंद वो तेल लेके आ गया था उनको लिए, तो तेल का बर्तन बाहर फेंक के तोड़ा और उसको कहा यहाँ से जाओ, तुम भागो यहाँ से, मैं
So
सन्यासी हूँ,
Jagdanand brought oil for Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu threw that away. He said that I am a sannyasi and you are bringing oil for me. He punished Chota Haridas. Chota Haridas just begged for some rice from an old woman. Why did Mahaprabhu give such a strict punishment to Chota Haridas? To protect the sanctity of Varnashram Dharma, to set an example for others.
क्यों सोचते हैं ऐसा कि उन्होंने छोड़ दिया है?
So why do we think like this that they gave it up?
उत्तम भक्त
Question: I read one of your articles.
तो उसमें जो एक कर्म दिया गया मतलब ये
It was written that Uttama Bhakta does not have to
है ना उसका
do karma.
हाँ, तो उनका ऐसा है ना कि वही वो
Answer:
आपको समझना है कि
so
जैसे श्राद्ध कर्म करना होता, तो अब
so you have to
उनको
understand
श्राद्ध कर्म
that
करने की
like you have to do Shraddha karma. So Uttama
या
Bhakta,
दूसरे जो
it is
वर्णाश्रम
not obligation for Uttama Bhakta to do that.
छोड़ दिया, तो उनका शादी नहीं है, ब्याह नहीं है, बच्चे नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, उन्हीं में तो
Those
सब
who
कर्म
gave
है।
up everything, they have no wife, children, nothing. So all karmas are in that only.
अग्निहोत्र होता है, तो
So
उसमें
like there is Shraddha, Agnihotra, all that is not obligatory. But for that also it is told in Shastra that if you are living in society and you are doing Agnihotra, that a Grihastha should do, and you become a devotee,
धर्मान परित्यज्य, अब आप अग्निहोत्र पे निर्भर नहीं कर रहे हैं,
now you are not depending on Agnihotra, that from this I will get Punya Karma and then I will go to Swarga,
लेकिन वो करता
I will
है,
progress. But that Grihastha Bhakta will continue that. In Yad Yad Acharati Shrestha verse explanation also I told that the Grihastha Bhakta does not leave that, so that there is no wrong message in the society. Giving up means he has given up the Shraddha in that I will get some benefit out of it, but I am doing that so that those who are not qualified for bhakti, they may end up just imitating me and they may give up their karma yoga also, and I will become the cause for their downfall. That's why Yudhishthir Maharaj also conducted yajnas, although there was no need for him to do that. So when it is said that they do not perform karma, this is what it means.
थैंक यू महाराज जी आपसे
अब
सुन
तो
के
वैसे ही कर्म
आपसे
नहीं
सुन के
करते हैं लोग, अब कहाँ करते हैं लोग कर्म?
हाँ
तो
थैंक
वैसे
यू
ही
महाराज जी
छोड़
आप।
के बैठे हैं।
हाँ
अपने स्वधर्म के ज्ञान के बारे में हम लोग अपना स्वधर्म माँ बाप को देखकर उसका ज्ञान आ सकता है कि मेरा स्वधर्म क्या है।
ऐसा है कि अभी जो स्वधर्म है वो वर्णाश्रम वाला तो है नहीं, इसलिए माँ बाप
So
को
the Swadharma that we have now is not of Varnashrama. So what will you get from
आपको अपना
parents?
स्वभाव समझना है। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण ये
You
है
have to understand
कि
your
शुरुआत
Swabhava.
जब वर्णाश्रम था
Earlier, when there was
तो
Varnashrama,
वैसे ही बच्चों को
whatever
सिखाया
was the Swabhava
क्योंकि
of
वो
parents, that
पालन
was
करते थे,
the Swabhava of
वैसे ही
children,
शादी करते
because
थे,
they were
वैसे ही
following
संस्कार
the
करते थे,
Varnashram. The marriage,
तो वही सिखाया।
samskaras, everything was according to the
अर्जुन भी
rules of
क्षत्रिय, उसका
Varnashram.
बाप भी क्षत्रिय, बाप का
So
नाम
Arjun was a Kshatriya, his father Kshatriya, the whole generation was Kshatriyas. Arjuna's son also was Kshatriya. Today the situation is
माँ बाप कुछ
different.
करते हैं, बेटा कुछ करता है, तो इसलिए
Parents do
बच्चों को
something, children do something else. So first of all, you have to understand your Swabhava.
तो हम लोग को अपना स्वभाव समझना है, तो ये भी
So
हम लोग
if we
देख
have to
सकते हैं
understand our
कि मेरा
Swabhava,
कैसा स्वभाव है
so
और
can
उसका
we
कैसा
also
स्वभाव
check
होगा। और ये
अगर आप अपना ही स्वभाव नहीं समझते तो माँ बाप का क्या समझोगे आप?
if when you can't understand
अपना ही समझ नहीं आ रहा है तो आपको माँ बाप का क्या स्वभाव समझोगे?
when you can't understand your own Swabhava, how will you understand the Swabhava of your parents?
आप में रजस है, तमस है,
So understanding Swabhava means where is your Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, your proclivity, your
माँ बाप से
aptitudes.
आता है या
हाँ
सब
माँ बाप
लेकर?
से ही आता है।
So yes, this also comes
किससे
from
आता है,
parents.
पिताजी से या माता से?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है ज़्यादा किससे।
There is nothing like
संस्कार
whether
सब छोड़
more
के
of it comes from father, mother.
उनके
So
अनुसार
answer, you forget about all this.
स्वभाव
Main,
होना था,
your
इसलिए आपको
Swabhava comes from your own previous karma.
जन्म हुआ। ये कहने का एक
You
तरीका
got birth also according to your karma only.
से आता है,
It's just a
वास्तविक
way of explaining that you get from your parents. You did the karma like that, that's why you got such birth and you have that Swabhava.
भगवान ने सोचा
And
कि इसका ऐसा
according to the Swabhava that you deserve, so
के यहाँ जन्म दिया
you are given a birth
अब
accordingly in a family
से आता
from where you acquire that Swabhava. Now you may say you get it from their DNA and all.
ठीक है। प्रार्थना श्लोक। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्र गीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्।